Hello, my name is Kismat Kamal, and my presentation today will be about immigration working against the corrosive side effects. The reason why I decided to do this presentation is to shed light on some of the human experiences side of immigration and what it looks like. My hope is for this is for government to look at the human experiences as a primary source when talking about immigration laws. There are different kinds of immigration categorized as legal in the United States. As you can see on the left side of this slide, I can't go much into detail about every one of these legal process of immigration in the United States, but as you can see here on the right, you can see the US immigration flows by country. And the difference between these graphs is that when you look at the 1800s down here, there were more inflow percentage population in the US immigration of Europeans coming into the US in the 1800s and the 1900s. But when you look at the 2000s and the 2010s, you can see that there's more inflow of people who are coming from Mexico. It's very important to talk about the U.S.-Mexico border when talking about migrants. And my research is focused on the Northern Triangle migration. So the migrants that are coming in from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. And this is very important to talk about because of the Build Secure Fence Act, which was enacted and passed by President Bush, which provided 16,000 agents that would be patrol agent that would be protecting the border basically. But regardless of the security, you can still see that migrants are coming into the United States illegally, and they know the dangerous. Despite the dangerous journey and despite the fact that they know that these border agents are waiting for them to be deported and their families can be separated. And so why are they still coming in regardless of this? The thing is that the motivation behind illegal immigration comes between has different push and pull factors. And when we're talking about push and pull factors, we also want to talk about the skilled and unskilled immigrant. So the push factor could involve a life-threatening situation that's going on in their country. It could also involve poverty, or it could also be the fact that their country has some sort of economic instability. But then a pull factor in a destination country would include like freedom, the fact that they can have basic human rights freedom. United States is known as like to have like a thriving economy. And so most people just want to have like a better life. So as you can see here, an example of a pull factor is the American dream. When we're talking about migrant experiences, like I said before, my main goal for this presentation is for people to see the human experiences side of immigration. Here is July here with her kids. July immigrated to the United States illegally and was, deported back to Mexico, where she's staying at a migrant house. The fact is that July added in mind to go through a legal process. So she has already started the process of applying for a family-based visa in the United States. But unfortunately, her son was killed by a gang, which made her fled Honduras. And through this process, she had to go on a dangerous journey to come into the United States illegally. And so these are just some of the experiences that migrants have, some of the human experiences and their own that they have on their journey into the United States, even though they know that they have high chance of not getting into the United States safely. They still made that journey because it's better to have some sort of optimistic view rather to just sit in a place knowing that you can die tomorrow. And when we discuss immigration, people tend to talk about the immigrant and cost and how immigrants, the cost benefit of immigration or the cost benefit of immigrants in the United States. The thing is that some people believe that immigration has a great effect on the labor market. But as you can see this graph here, there is more immediate benefit and services that are being received by immigrants than the taxes that are being paid. But also, let's not forget that this graph also includes not only unlawful immigrant households, but also lawful immigrant households. So we can't really say that this graph is, very correctly collected data on unlawful immigrant households as well. also, young immigrants are more likely to come into the United States as workers. Therefore, they will pay more taxes than require public assistance. And when we think about it, or when we look at data and we look at this, a lot of research, we see that most of the migrants that are coming to the United States illegally are women and children, young migrants as well. And so you could also see some cost benefit that says that really they don't really, migration or immigration does not really have like an impact, whether positive or negative, on the labor market in the United States. When we talk about immigration, also people also tend to ask the question of, well, migrants can cause overpopulation. When we talk about migrants causing overpopulation, there is a concept of net migration, which is the difference in number of people who are leaving the country and the number of people who are coming into a country. And so there's a concept that between 2040 and 2050, the United Nations stated that there is supposed to be less negative population growth in the developed regions, which includes United States, Canada, and other European countries. And there's going to be 1% larger population growth in developing regions. So really, the inflow of migrants into the United States is not really going to cause overpopulation, because it's only going to balance the population. So as people are leaving the United States, there are people who are coming in as well. We also want to talk about, okay, we've accepted that there is this human experience that's attached to my immigration, and there's also the fact that people coming in doesn't really take away jobs or anything like that. But how do we house and feed these migrants that are coming in? The thing is that if the US were to identify Northern Triangle migrants, most of these Northern Triangle migrants, as asylum seekers, it would be easier to figure out how to accommodate them, because there are organizations that are working with different migrant groups. So there are different migrant categories. There's a permanent resident alien, there's the asylum seeker or refugee status migrant. And so if the US is able to identify Northern Triangle migrants as asylum seekers, then there are nonprofit organizations who are willing to work with this migrant, who are going to provide them with house and feed them as well. Example is the MacArthur Foundation, who provides funding for immigration research. So there are a lot of professors, there are a lot of people out there who are doing research about immigration and could actually help and impact the law on immigration that's being made in the United States. There's also organizations like World Vision. World Vision is also helping migrants in their own countries to help combat like poverty and provide security against gang violence. And so these organizations are actually helping these migrants before they move, before they make the decision like, okay, this is not a safe country for me, I'm gonna move, But the things that are preventing these organizations from doing their job efficiently is things like border patrol agents who are separating families at the border, deportation, and human smugglers who are not being paid by migrants. All these people and all these factors are preventing these organizations, these nonprofit organizations, from actually doing their jobs effectively. My research is not done yet, but there are some questions that I thought that people would come up with, or people might be thinking about, is that, and some statement that I came up with is that migrants actually leave their home countries. They're aware of the journey, the dangerous journey that's ahead. As you can see, they're all forming a line to cross the river, and it doesn't look like they're phased by it. The thing is that they usually decide the cause and effect of leaving their origin country. This fact is them protesting their rights as humans. And so are we considered world citizens if we are able to just move around to places, and should we be able to move around to different countries freely without any restrictions? And so some other underlying questions that I think that the audience might have that I would love to answer is that, why are they not coming in illegally? Well, migrants are not, why are they not coming in legally is my question. So some migrants come in illegally because they probably don't have money to, they can't afford a visa because they're in poverty. They can't afford a visa. They can't, even if they were able to afford a visa, they don't have enough money to even buy a plane ticket. And why do illegal immigrants decide to stay despite the harsh difficulties? Well, the thing is that once you've made the dangerous journey, no one wants to go back to the circumstance they have. And also, immigrants also, they're also humans, and so they have egos of, I need to go back home with something. And so they're trying to make a life. And I mentioned skilled and unskilled migrants, and this is where the concept comes in, because if you're a skilled immigrant, then you have some sort of, you're educated and you have some sort of technicalities that can actually afford you a job, that you're able to settle here you know, faster, unlike the unskilled immigrant who's trying to pick up jobs, or who's trying to find something to do to actually make a living in the United States. And then why does the United States have to carry this burden? This is a question that I myself haven't been able to answer yet. That's why I'm still doing more research, but I'm so thankful that you're able to watch this video again. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope that this has changed some of your thoughts and some of the way that you think about immigration.